in swimming, you only get an opportunity to be at your very best every so often. And the bulk of our team is peaking for this, and they're ready. They're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ben, you've been around a couple of years, had a lot of success here at the conference championships. You go into this already knowing you're going to nationals, don't have to taper for this, but still got to be excited to be at home for a big meet again.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's always fun to do a 4-day championship meet. This isn't the big one, so it's kind of just another meet for me, but I do want to, do my part and score as many points for the team as I can.
Amelia also secure, we think, into nationals, but maybe talk a little bit about your well. One never knows.
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
Come on.
Talk to us maybe a little bit about your journey here as a second conference championship meet for you after transferring and your final home meet.
Yeah, definitely super exciting. Crazy to think that it's going to be my last home meet. I think when I first came here, it was so super new, and it was a little bit of a rocky start. But I've really found my people out here and a lot of support, and I think that allowed me to really flourish in swimming, feeling comfortable and safe as a person out here. So that just allowed for so many doors to open up when I felt okay. I was free to just do what I could in the water. It's super exciting, and we're so pumped to get ready for this big meet.
Amelia, like Chris said, 2 years here, you had a terrific season last year. Kind of what are the expectations for next week other than, like Ben said, it's not the big meet for a lot of you, but you still want to get ready. Do you kind of try to keep that in mind as this is still a championship meet?
Definitely. I have actually thought a lot about that recently. I think that this meet is this is our dress rehearsal. We have this big meet coming up, and we're going to throw everything on the line just as we would do at nationals, just as we would do at every other meet. And so I think that it's a super exciting opportunity not only to have this as, a place to throw down and compete, but also just to see people do incredibly amazing things and to be there for each other. And I think it's just so exciting. Yes, nationals is, could be considered the end goal, or it is the end goal, but this meet is still so important, and it's a perfect time to trial and really get those little things in line so that when we go to Indianapolis, we're all ready to go.
So Mickey, that kind of the thought process, you said you weren't going to taper, obviously, the national kids, and that makes sense. You'll have half tapered, half not tapered, but still, you have the expectation to be the team to beat. And
just to be the very best we can be. That's all we can ever ask of them, right? We say there's 3 things we can measure: your attitude, your effort, and your execution. The results, the outcome, that's beyond our control. And so, like Amelia said, it's a dress rehearsal. It's a chance for us to fine-tune our race strategies, to learn some things, to compete against some great talent, to use the same format as the NCAA championship, which is really, we're fortunate that the RMAC mimics the NCAA's other than the start times, which kind of helps us too, because it's, we're going back some time zones and starting a little bit earlier, I think is helpful for us. We're just going to represent Colorado Mesa University as well as we can, and I'm confident in our ability to win a conference championship and provide an experience for these athletes that they'll remember forever, whether it be at a conference meet or a national championship. It means a lot to them to be part of this, and so that's what it's going to be, a party, but they've been working hard. They were in this morning. they're in the weight room. They are doing everything as if, our focus meets 4 weeks from now, and so we'll learn something. It's going to be good.
Maybe get a few more in, right?
I think so, yeah.
That's the goal is, those kids that are right there on the bubble, get them obviously better times.
Oh, a
and-
few more in the meet.
in the-
Yeah, we need
in the-
more than a few.
Yeah.
We're hoping for another 8 or 9.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's, the more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
But, Ben, you've said in the past that you're still relatively new to this sport. When did you kind of get into this, and when did you say, okay, this is my sport?
That is a great question, actually. I mean, I've always been a swimmer, like since I was 8, just I didn't take it very seriously, and I didn't really know a whole lot about the sport. I loved it though. Got here, and then that's kind of where things started to pick up, and I was like, well, I actually really like doing this, and I think it's super fun, and I'm good at it. And I don't know, probably last year is when I was like, all right, like I'm gonna take this super seriously and just see what I can do, and then it's been great ever since.
Well, I mean, your senior year, obviously in high school you didn't have because, that little thing.
Mhm.
But how do you go from a kid, I mean, you qualified for state, you're in the top 10, 15 in Colorado, and then you come here and you've blown the doors off everybody. How did that kind of progress? When did it kind of click that I really can do something special?
I mean, definitely freshman year when, I don't know, I realized that, this was a possibility that I could be pretty good at this. And once I figured that out, I was like, well, I might as well just give everything I can to it and see what I can do. And then I did pretty well freshman year, and I don't know, there's been a lot of little moments throughout my career, I guess, where I've kind of realized that, this is what I want to do and that I love doing it. So it hasn't been one specific moment, but it's been a lot of little ones.
Yeah, it just kind of builds, and
Yeah.
you see yourself progressing. I'm guessing that just makes you want to take it
Exactly.
just a little bit more.
Exactly. Always new goals every week. There's something new, so that's always fun.
Mickey, what have you seen change in Ben especially? I mean, it's just, I remember we talked earlier. He said, it was his freshman year. You could kind of see it, but then it really kicked in.
I think it's a combination of real desire and a curiosity, right? Every day it's, what about this? And what if I tried that? And how can I do things a little bit better and a little bit differently? It's the one thing I've noticed about the great ones. They're always trying to learn. They've never got it figured out. It's a constant evolution of developing skills, which takes you to the next place, and then you could see a little bit more, and it gets you thinking about it a bit differently. And I'd say that's the best thing about Ben. And then just like we try to get with all of our athletes, how badly do you want this? And that's the most important question in recruiting, right? It's got to be very important to them. And if there's not that, they'll be absolutely miserable in our program, because it's a lifestyle and it's a way of sort of viewing everything. But I'd say it's the work ethic, it's the discipline, it's certainly natural talent. But if I were to put my finger on one thing for Ben in particular, it's that curiosity, that wondering and playing, and it's playful. It's hard, and he works incredibly hard. But there's always this sort of what's next kind of approach.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you've kind of found your event,
Mhm. Yeah.
but you're also well-rounded enough to where you do pretty well in some other things other than the back.
Yeah.
But when was, okay, the backstroke's going to be, was that a club
No.
coach that said that, or was that here?
No, that was last year.
He thought he was a sprinter.
I thought I was going to come in swim the 50 free, and now I swim the 4 IM and the 50 free. It's all over, but I wouldn't even say I'm a backstroker really. Like, I want to try a lot of different things, you know. You never know what can happen.
Well, that obviously helps. It's kind of like being a 2-sport athlete or a 3-sport athlete or a multi-sport,
Mm-hmm.
you know, multi-event type person.
Yeah.
It's got to help you in every single event.
Yeah, everything's completely different too, you know, so one thing might not exactly help you for the other, but they are also all connected too, so that helps. But
Just remember, which you're swimming so you get the kick right.
yeah, exactly. That's important, you know.
That range is a friend of mine, the Air Force coach, when I texted him, I said, and this is more of a swimming thing, but 19.8 and 44.0, 136, and then what he did in the IMs and going 345, and Rob Clayton said, "Wow, that's macho," and that's a word you don't hear very often, but it's just the versatility is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yes, and Amelia, I mean, who wants to torture themselves like you do in those distance meets? I mean,
Thank God I don't do that.
those are grueling. I mean, I went to 500. I'm like, that's it. You know, and I think when I was in high school, it was only the 400, and that was more than enough.
Yeah.
But what does it take to swim those lengths?
I think so. I mean, obviously it's pretty grueling, but also I really like distance events because they're very meticulous. Like, you're trying to, coach always says, like, whoever doesn't slow down the least, and so it's like you're trying to do the same thing over and over again, and sometimes get faster, like descend. But so it's like about just like there's just like very specific things that you do, and just little things that can change to make it a little bit better, or, oh, what is this kick gonna do for me, or stroke count is super important to me. Like, I always count my strokes, and that tells me a lot too. And so it's more of like a game. Like, it's like looking at it as a game. Okay, I have 60 lengths, you know. Sometimes I'd like to look ahead and see who I'm swimming against, and okay, so they typically, well, they make their move here. Okay, good to know. Like, to kind of see, and it's a game, right? Like, it's who's not gonna slow down the least, who's gonna touch the wall first. And so just learning to put your head down and really learn how to, like, train through anything. Coach likes to say, like, making us bulletproof. So, like, when you step up behind the blocks, when I step up behind the blocks at Indianapolis, like, I know, and I'm ready to go, and I know what I need to do, and this is just another 1,000-mile 500, you know, and I'm just here competing against top-level swimmers, you know, but it's just something that I do all the time. So.
What is a dreadnought?
Oh, a dreadnought. That's my high school mascot. Yeah. It's actually a type of boat. Personally, I'm not exactly sure the type of boat that it is, but yeah, pretty slick logo that we used to have. Dexter High School Dreadnoughts.
Sounds like a Viking.
Go Dreads. Yeah. I mean, like, what could compete against a ship, you know? Like, not much. So, it was, yeah.
Might as well. Let's say, Ben, last summer at the Nationals, what did that kind of show you?
A whole lot. Be prepared for anything, first of all, because first day of warm-up, I knocked myself in the head with a backstroke start and was bleeding all over. So that was one thing, just be prepared for anything. It showed me what other high-level athletes, Olympians, do, their pre-race rituals, and I swam in a warm-up lane with Katie Ledecky. Like, that was pretty cool. And just a whole nother side of the sport, really, like intense long course, competitions. They're a lot different, and I don't know, it was just a whole lot of fun. Yeah, showed me a lot.
Get you ready for that next qualifying
Yeah.
game, right?
Absolutely, that's the main goal anyway.
Yeah.
So
It's got to be at some point in your mind is getting to that level.
for sure.
Can I chime in real quick?
Absolutely.
First about Amelia, when she was at Eastern Michigan, she was a backstroker, and we just saw this ability for her to endure, and it suited her personality, these distance events. And I think that idea of being curious and creative is certainly part of it, because it's new still to her, you know, compared to many, like Katie Ledecky's done many dozens of miles, you know, competitively. And then we sort of joke, but I don't think it's a joke. Like, Ben's versatility will enable him, I think, to make a real legitimate push for the ISL, for pro swimming, when he graduates. And they need people that are versatile and that are great short course. And I teach a philosophy of coaching class, and Ben was in it, and his whole presentation was on the ISL. And so anyway, we got our sights set pretty high. Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question of the week, even
Oh.
better. So the Super Bowl's coming up, which is the most watched game of the year in the country and the world. So what's your guys' favorite all-time sports experience as a fan?
I'll say, as a fan, was in 2008, I got to go to Beijing, China, and coach at the Olympics. In opening ceremonies, I was the coach for American Samoa, so I was walking in a skirt, but walking around the Olympic Stadium in front of 100,000+ people, I still get chills kind of thinking about that.
So personally, I don't attend a lot of sports events outside of swim meets, and I guess this really isn't an experience, but the first thing that popped into my head was when I was younger. I've been to like a couple football games, like ever. I don't really understand football that well, but my dad took me to the U of M football game in 2011. I think they reopened the stadium, and I actually fell asleep in his lap, and I was like 11 or 12, and so that was like the last time I went to a football game.
Good story, man.
I went to the Avs, I think it was semis, game 3 last year. So that was really cool. Probably the craziest experience of my life. That was electric.
You guys have any Super Bowl picks?
Yeah, it's rigged.
That's the correct answer, actually.
I gotta go with Cincinnati just because I'm a Giants
No.
fan, then they're not even
They're,
in, are they?
no.
No, they lost.
Oh, they Kansas City. Oh yeah, I don't have a preference. Although I'm
Go
a Giants
Eagles,
fan,
go
so I don't
Eagles.
like the Eagles.
Go Eagles.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.